Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube NFL predictions segment, I'm going to be giving you my predictions for Week 1 of the 2015 NFL season, so let me get started. First game, New England is at home against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm going to go with New England 21-3 at home the last 3 seasons. I'm not worried if Tom Brady plays or not. They acquired wide receiver Reggie Wayne, which should already make a formidable offense even better. Now, Pittsburgh does have quarterback Ben Roethlisberger. I understand that. Running back Le'Veon Bell is still going to be suspended. And the team, Ben Roethlisberger, I believe, was tied for number 1 in passing yards. They have a wide receiver Antonio Brown, who I believe was number 1 in receptions and yards receiving. But New England at home, I like them in a close one at home. The next game, I'm going to take the Green Bay Packers on the road versus the Chicago Bears. Green Bay has dominated this series in recent years. Chicago is 1-9 in the last 10 versus the Green Bay Packers. Ever since Chicago lost polarizing defensive guy Brian Urlacher, they just seem like they haven't quite been the same. And look at Green Bay. They might be without their wide receiver who got injured recently. But at the same time, I think when you look at Green Bay, they have the number 1 scoring offense last season, and they were plus 14 in turnover differential, number 1. I like Green Bay to win this one. Next game, I'm going to take the Houston Texans at home over the Kansas City Chiefs. Well, basically, on virtue of home field, I'm going to go with Houston. Houston was 5-3 at home during the regular season. They have J.J. Watt, who's Mr. Versatility. Now, Kansas City was 3-5 on the road last season. They have Justin Houston, who led the league in sacks last season. And I look at this as far as the kick return average. Kansas City, I believe, is number 2 last season, 28.3 yards per return. So that could be pivotal in terms of the outcome of this game if they could get established good field position. But I like Houston in a close one. Next game, I'm going to take the New York Jets at home over the Cleveland Browns. Now, this game, toilet bowl might be a little bit harsh, but it's really, you got 2 teams that are below average in this game. The Jets acquired wide receiver Brandon Marshall. This is a new era for the Jets, a new coach. They have won 4 consecutive opening day games. Maybe that's a harbinger for this game, I'm hoping. Now, Cleveland lost 6 of their final 7 games in 2014 after flourishing in the first 9 games. They were 6-3 in the first 9. So I'm going to have to see. I think we're going to see more of the Cleveland team and the latter part of last season, though. So I'm going to take the New York Jets at home. Now, the next game, the Buffalo Bills are at home against the Indianapolis Colts. Now, if we said maybe 2 or 3 seasons ago it'd be inconceivable for to think Buffalo could win this game, you might have been right. But right now, Buffalo could really be primed to be one of the upper echelon teams this year, I think. Buffalo has a plethora of offensive weapons, including that they added running back LaShawn McCoy in the offseason. They added wide receiver Percy Harvin. They were one of the best scoring defenses last season, 18.1 points per game given up. They had 19 interceptions. They were in the top, I believe, 3 or 4 in the league in that department. Now, Indianapolis has a little more than just some luck with Andrew Luck, and he was number 2 in passing yards in 2014. Expect him to have a fairly good game, but it's not. They lost Reggie Wayne. I'm wondering if that might hurt the Colts a little bit and play maybe a role, and maybe not an integral role of their fortunes this season because they still have a solid team, but it may make a difference. But I like Buffalo at home to win this one. Now, the next game, I'm going to take Miami on the road over the Washington Redskins. The Redskins right now, they look like they're in kind of a reclamation project mode. They made a very smart decision, I believe, in taking Kirk Cousins as the starting quarterback over Griffin, and that's a step in the right direction, I believe. Now, Miami got a guy named Ndamukong Suh on that team. Cornerback Brent Grimes had 5 sacks last season. Maybe he can. I believe I may have made a mistake. 5 interceptions. It may be. You might want to look that up because I made a mistake. I may have made a mistake on that. Not 100% sure. Being a cornerback, I believe it's actually 5 interceptions. So the defense, Miami, could very well be the difference in this game, and I like the Dolphins to win on the road. Next game, I want to take the Carolina Panthers on the road to conquer the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, Jacksonville Jaguars, saying they're a lackluster team would be a vast understatement. They allowed a league-high 71 sacks against them last season. I mean, their offensive line was like obliterated last season on so many occasions. They were 28th in total offense. I'm sorry. What I want to say is Julius Jones out 4 to 5 weeks. The tight end, that can make a difference in this game. For Carolina, when you have quarterback Cam Newton, you always have a chance. They have the league leader from last season in tackles with Luke Kuechly. He led the NFL in tackles with 153. I'm going to take Carolina on the road to win this one. Now, the next game, I'm going to take Seattle on the road over the St. Louis Rams. Now, Seattle, they boast, I believe, the best defense in the NFL. They had the best scoring defense of last season. However, they were mediocre 4-4 on the road last season, 8-0 at home. Now, they're everything but invincible at home, but when they go on the road, they're just kind of like, they seem kind of middle of the road. However, many of you may remember St. Louis defeated Seattle at St. Louis last season. I don't think Seattle's going to let that same mistake happen. I think that was more of an aberration than anything. And I'm going to go with Seattle in a tight one. St. Louis has got quarterback Nick Foles, and he might have a very good season, but they're going to need a little bit more than that. And it is Seattle, and I'm taking Seattle on the road. Next game, I'm going to take the Arizona Cardinals over the New Orleans Saints. Now, last season ended poorly for Arizona because they went down to what I believe was their third-string quarterback, and I think this season they could challenge at least Seattle for the division title. And they really did last season. I think they wound up 1 game out of first place. And if everybody could stay healthy, all their main proponents, including the quarterback, they may have a shot to win that division. Now, New Orleans only had 2 wins versus teams with a winning record last season. They were minus 13 in the turnover differential category, which was number 31 in the league, and that doesn't bode well. I expect New Orleans to be a little better this season, can very likely capture the division title, but I don't think this is their game for them to win. I'm taking Arizona at home. Now, the next game, I'm going to take the San Diego Chargers at home over the Detroit Lions. Now, San Diego has dominated this series 6-1 in the last 7 versus Detroit. Now, Detroit boasted the best run defense last season. They're without Ndamukong Suh. That is going to factor in. Now, they also they had 20 interceptions last season, so that maybe their secondary can keep this game close. They're also 0-4 at San Diego, so I don't see them going into San Diego and winning this game. San Diego wins this one. Now, next game, I'm going to take the Tampa Bay Bucs over the Tennessee Titans. I guess this is the unofficial toilet bowl. Now, quarterback Jameis Winston, I guess it's against Marcus Mariota of Tennessee, mainly on virtue of the home field advantage. I'm going to take the Bucs. Now, the Tennessee Titans are 1-7 in the last 8 games versus NFC teams. So, saying they're having a little difficulty, that these NFC teams are a little bit of a dilemma for them is an understatement, of course. It'll be tight. It'll be a competitive game, but I'm going to take Tampa Bay at home. Now, the next game, I'm going to take the Cincinnati Bengals on the road over the Oakland Raiders. Don't be flabbergasted or in a state of shock, people. Now, the Oakland Raiders seem like they were last or near last in so many categories last season statistically. It's not even funny. It's preposterous. They're number 32 in rushing yards. I don't think they had one game where they had a 100-yard rusher last season. I'm not saying they didn't rush for 100 yards in any game, but as far as an individual back, I don't think they had anybody that ran for 100 or more yards last season in any game. They were also number 32 in the scoring defense, 28.3 points allowed. That's not going to get it done. Cincinnati, they were 20th versus the run last season, which is obviously not stupendous. But they do have quarterback Andy Dalton. They have wide receiver A.J. Green. And they have a very good shot at winning this game. I'm going to take Cincy on the road. Now the next game, I'm going to take the Denver Broncos at home over the Baltimore Ravens and the Ravenous defense, perhaps, yes. Now, the best quarterback in the NFL still, I believe, unequivocally is Peyton Manning. I don't think the skills are deteriorating that much. I know he had a little injury last season. If he's not as effective this year, it would be attributed to that more as opposed to his skills declining. Now, Baltimore is 3-2 in the last 5 versus Denver. If anybody could upset Denver, it's obviously Baltimore. They were throttled 49-27 in Week 1 last season. I don't think Denver's going to annihilate Baltimore, but I do see them winning by maybe 10 points. Decisive win, maybe 10 to 14 points. I'm going to take Denver at home. Next game, I'm going to take the Dallas Cowboys at home over the New York Giants. Now, as many of you may know, the Dallas Cowboys lost their running back DeMarco Murray last season. However, there's still more than enough in the tank to conquer the New York Giants. Now, Dallas is 5-1 in the last 6 against the Giants. The Giants, well, they ended the season on a flourish. They won 3 of their final 4. They were number 10 in total offense, number 7 in passing offense. Eli Manning showed a lot of resiliency, and he bounced back, and he had a tremendous season. But I want to see if how they're really going to function. The first game with, I believe, Pierre-Paul is as far as the amputated finger. How much is that going to affect his playing ability? And it's going to be interesting. And this could very well be a make or break year for the New York Giants head coach Tom Coughlin, which makes this season more intriguing for the Giants, I think. But it is a divisional rival. Dallas will win at home in a tight one, I think. Next game, I'm going to take the Philadelphia Eagles on the road to defeat the Atlanta Falcons. Now, the Philadelphia Eagles, they have a running back DeMarco Murray, but they have the interception machine, Mr. Sporadic and Erratic Mark Sanchez. Now, as long as they can have Sam Bradford play and he's effective and efficient, I think they will be okay this season, and they have enough to win this game. Now, the Atlanta Falcons, when you have quarterback Matt Ryan, they always have a chance. He seems like Matt Ryan has a tendency to fly under the radar a little bit. He's more reticent, I think, than a lot of other quarterbacks in the league, but he's still one of the better ones out there, and they are at home. It wouldn't shock me if Atlanta pulled this one out, but I'm going to still go with who I think is the better team, and that's the Philadelphia Eagles. And now, last but not least, I'm going to take the San Francisco 49ers at home over the Minnesota Vikings. Now, San Francisco lost wide receiver Michael Crabtree in the offseason. He was injured, and he had, I believe, what was the worst season of his career. San Francisco seems to be on the decline. Maybe they might be looking at a reclamation project for this team. Now, but they are at home in Minnesota. I want to see how running back Adrian Peterson, how he's going to be, and has he lost a step by being out for a season or not. And that's going to make it interesting. Minnesota might have a very good team this season, but going at San Francisco, I just feel that my feeling is that San Francisco will be a little better team on this particular day, and I think San Francisco wants to redeem themselves after what happened last season. And I'm not saying they will completely this season, but in this particular game in front of their home crowd, I do like them. Now, anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube NFL prediction segment for my 2015 NFL predictions Week 1, and stay tuned next time where I'll be giving you my predictions for Week 2 of the 2015 NFL season. And until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying, stay well.